Biafra, bringing news beats from across the United Kingdom, incisive analysis by the People's Parliament. Our panel dissects the topic of the week and listeners interact.
Also featuring great Biafran history, education, awareness, and enlightenment, plus entertainment galore.
Tune in to the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. Sundays from 7:30 p.m. Biafran time and British Summer Time. Set out for a fabulous week ahead with the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. News, views, previews, and reviews. Join us.
Yeah, boy. Represent. IPOB is the mouth of the people. Advocacy. Nnamdi Kanu is a healer. Yeah, I'm about to watch healer. Now you got to put on the feeler. Now I'm Biafra like a dealer. Hey, Ndi Igbo. Gone out the days of the blackout. Even out the scene, who get taking out the shut off and no shots to get out. Shameless torture. Janja with solo Jan Mutu. Now on Facebook, now for two. Janja with them is in our land. In our family land, 35 our guys. Government not the committee mother, and the mother here. Without the freedom, we will cover. Biafra will live, never die. You will never sleep, we take it now. So the people that anyone know what to do, we know to get
Good evening from here. Good morning, good afternoon, good night, depending on your time zone. Welcome to the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. I'm your host, Ikechukwu Nice Mokoro Ichie Machinemere. I have from Onichami Ezilite, Obodo Province, Biafra. And by the special grace of Chukwuka Biama, I serve my beloved people of Biafra as the United Kingdom National Coordinator. As usual, we start with a prayer in the language of heaven. Chukwuka Biama kurimi heni na ine nyego duto ine bule hansogelu. Aina yogi ba rauzo wala ine sila mehe ena nye bere eze bube. Amaragi bara anyo ba. Aine buli nagi mwoke windu anye Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Tinye n'ọba aka gị dịka isi na-echekwa ya na-edu ya ka ikpuchigide ya na ọbụla dị n'aka ndị iro nọ ka ime ka oge na-agaghị ịta aka ka o si ebe ahụ pụta ka anyị na-ayọ gị ụtụtụ ehihie abalị mgbe niile ka anyị na-ayọ gị ayọyọ ahụ anyị ma na ị ga-emezi ya na-ayọkwa gị n'isi ụmụ Biafra niile gị ebe ọbụla anyị na-anọ na kachasị ndị nke nọ n'ụlọ n'ala Biafra ka ikpuchigide ha zere ha ndị ọjọọ kwupụla ka ndị ọjọọ kuchie anyị ebe ọbụla ha na-esi na-abịa ka anyị gbara ha nwere ike gị gbaa anyị ume ka anyị nwere ike gị wee chekwa ala nke nyere anyị ala Biafra. Ala anyị agaghị efu, isi anyị agaghị efu, nakwa ayọ gị eze ebube ka ime ka oge na-ekwe ete aka ka anyị nwere onwe anyị wee fee gị ofufe dịka anyị kwere gị na nkwa dịka ị chọrọ ka anyị mee n'ala nke nyere anyị ala Biafra. Ihe ndị a na ihe ndị ọzọ niile na-akpagbu anyị na ndị anyị chetara ọla anyị kwupụtara ka anyị na-ayọ gị kwere na ihe mezuru anyị site n'aha nwa gị nwoke Yeshua HaMashiach. Ise 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 ise. Amara ya bara nyuba, amara ya bara nyuba, na Chukwu bara nyuba ka iwere ya jere yuzi. Coming up next is the news beat, and after that we are going to discuss the topic of the week, which is how Ndi Igbo can influence Tinubu and APC to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Join us. Thank you.
Welcome to this week's News Bites. I am Mazi Sam. With me, Wada Oge. Good evening. IPOB UK end of year ESM fundraising will hold on Saturday, December 7th in London and online. The IPOB UK National Coordinator, Chief Ndi Igbo, announced this at last Monday's coordinators, financial secretaries and team leads meeting. He invoked the spirits of Biafra ancestors and called on Chukwuka to strengthen our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, the gallant men and women of the ESN and all Biafrans in their efforts to secure our homeland and restore Biafra, encouraging us to give our all for the cause. Chief Walker also informed the regional and zonal leaders that our standard fourth quarter ESN contributions would be aggregated towards the national event. The fundraising team will resume our bi-weekly team meeting this Friday to advance plans and preparation for the December 7th ESN fundraising. Publicity materials, flyers, posters, promo jingles, as well as special guests invite would be out this week. Please share it widely and do join us on the big day.
The UK National Coordinator has expressed his gratitude to all UK families for their enduring efforts and resilience in the past 12 months, pointing out that this year has been the most challenging, but we have stood strong, collectively utilizing our time, talent, and treasure to remain resolute and relevant. Chief Mazi Nnamdi thanked all active national teams, singling out the media IT teams for special mentions in the wake of technical glitches, which had affected the broadcast of our UK timeout via IPOB community radio in particular. However, there has been cheering news since Friday that the cyber attacks our radio apps faced in the last month have now been resolved. Listeners are advised to re-download the updated apps for smoother broadcast. IPOB UK National Coordinator encouraged all family members to get genuinely involved in all spheres of the movement's activities, stating that there is no more room for passive participation.
The panelists on Sunday's UK timeout discussing the topic Igbo unity, key to the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, unanimously underscored the age-long Igbo maxim Igwe bu Ike, literally meaning unity is strength, stressing that Ndi Igbo, speaking in one voice, acting in one undivided spirit, will definitely yield much fruit towards freeing Ahmadike. Dr. Jude Eze, the president of Obako Ndi Igbo UK, made a remarkable statement that deploying non-violent methods as is characterized by IPOB's image will positively impact an overall global view of the organization. Dr. Michael Chukwu Jigwe, Secretary General of Congress of Igbo Leaders, organizers of the annual Igbo Festival of Arts and Culture, IFAC, here in the UK, deserted the facts that affecting Igbo unity and suggested that the skills and accomplishments of Ndi Igbo are widely acknowledged by the international community, which could be harnessed for our overall development. High Chief Bato Emerezibe of IPOB back in the Dagenham zone, added that to galvanize the endeavors of Ndi Igbo, the sacrifices of Biafrans, including our youths, all over the world should be channeled towards achieving homeland security and territorial integrity, hallmarks of the peaceful restoration of sovereignty IPOB champions. He enjoined Ndi Igbo to support ESN and IPOB for stability and prosperity.
ESN Commander General Mazi Nnamdi has said that moreover people have now realized that with the current situation of Ndi Igbo in Nigeria, there is no better solution than for us to separate from the contraption, making Biafra exit a viable, sustainable project. Meanwhile, Onyendo's current lead counsel, Barrister Aloy Ejimako, has reacted to a remark credited to the spokesman of the Northern Elders Forum, Malam Ango Abdullahi, that the unity of Nigeria should be renegotiated because the country expired 10 years ago. Ejimako indicated that the legal instrument upon which Nigeria was founded in 1914 has a fixed duration of 100 years, which has expired in 2014. In another development, another deadly militia has emerged. Lakurawa is the new terror group operating in the northwestern states of Sokoto and Kebbi, terrifying residents and indigenous people with sophisticated attacks. The group was said to have killed 15 people and roasted over 100 cows in Mera last week.
Zoo political activist Omo Yeli Sobore has exposed a devious plan secretly pursued by different Nigerian regimes to place Ndi Igbo in perpetual hardship. The Sahara Report CEO, who recently said Nigeria has an Igbo problem, maintains that there is a secret memo in the corridors of power to be very careful of the Igbos, adding that the code of the memo is against giving the Igbos political positions of authority and any meaningful opportunities in Nigeria's government. According to Sobore, for Ndi Igbo to truly strive and survive in present-day Nigeria, the country must break. This systematic design to frustrate Ndi Igbo has resulted in high migration of Ndi Igbo for decades now. Meanwhile, Tinubu administration continues the celebration of Togre as Jagaban apologist MC Olumo, who incited ethnic hatred and threatened all Igbos in Lagos during the 2023 rigged elections, who was selected as the president of the National Union of Road Transport Workers, was seen with battalions of heavily armed state security personnel.
An air of optimism has brightened the face of Biafrans and lovers of freedom following the announcement of Susie Wiles as the Chief of Staff to the United States President-elect Donald Trump. Wiles was the co-chair of a USA lobbying firm hired by IPOB in 2019. While we are elected by the choice of Susie by Trump, and we are to leverage on that connect, we must desist from spreading disinformation as contained in a viral doctored video where AI was used to make pronouncements the US president has not actually made. Still in America, a US court has denied disclosure request filed by popular journalist David Ndi for access to Tinubu's FBI files. The CIA had challenged the suit, claiming Tinubu is a US national security asset and that releasing his sensitive information may be damaging to American interest. That is the news beat this week. Thanks for listening. Coming up next is the People's Parliament on the UK Time Out. Don't go away.
We're going to discuss the topic: how influence President Tinubu and the APC to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Ndi Igbo are people that are renowned for their resourcefulness, resilience, highly intelligent, brilliant people, excellent business men and women, very enterprising, great with negotiation skills, are able to solve problems of all sorts. The question now is, has our influence waned over time in Nigeria? Does the Igbo man truly have influence in the present setup, the political setting, especially in Nigeria? So I have with me here a distinguished panel on the People's Parliament this week. As usual, I will invite them to introduce themselves. I will start from the south. Doc, please kindly unmute and introduce yourself.
Hello, everyone. My name is Dr. Ndi Igbo. I am the President Emeritus of Ndi Igbo, United Kingdom and Ireland. Thank you very much, Chief Nwoko, for having me.
You're most welcome. Thank you, Doc.
Thank you.
I will go up north. Mazi, please unmute and introduce yourself. Okay, we have Chief Barrister Ken joining us now. Chief, you're most welcome. Please introduce yourself to our listeners before we go into the topic.
Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Happy Sunday, everybody. Yeah, my name is Chief Barrister Kenneth Widoka. I'm from Oka in Biafra land, in Anambra State, Biafra land. I reside here in the United Kingdom, and I'm the Sec-Gen of Ndi Igbo, UK and Ireland, and also legal advisor Anambra State Union, UK, as well as legal advisor SAR Europe. I'm happy to be in your midst. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Odobu. Mazi, please introduce yourself from Scotland. Mazi, as you become mute and introduce yourself.
I think
Yes, you're coming out clear. Just unmute yourself. You keep going back to mute. Yeah?
Good evening, everyone. My name is Mr. Zubike Alphonsus. I'm a lawyer and I live in Scotland. I'm the Scotland Deputy National Coordinator for IPOB. I'm from Ebonyi State, southeastern part of Biafra land. Thank you, Chief Moko, and all your crew members for inviting me this evening. And also thank you, IPOB family, for coming around to listen to what we have to discuss tonight. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. You're most welcome, Machineke. As usual, we will hear from our panelists. They give us their views before we open the lines for you, our dear listeners, to join and make your own contributions or ask questions if you have any. I shall be announcing the numbers to call, the WhatsApp number, when we get there. But first, Doc, let me start with you. Has Nigeria been fair to Ndi Igbo? Or should I put it this way, has Nigeria been against Ndi Igbo, especially of late? We do know that since after 1970, we have been struggling to get our place and our influence in the country. But recently, maybe in the last 14 years or thereabout, it seems to be getting worse. So what is the assessment?
Thank you very much, Chief Mokoro, for this all-important question. First, Ndi Igbo have played critical role pre-independence of Nigeria, during independence, and post-independence, and even up to today. We have been nation builders. We have been critical stakeholders in governance, in the military, in the commerce industry, and in all spheres of Nigeria. Igbos have provided one of the tripods on which the Nigerian state stands. Immediately after independence or before independence, we have three major ethnic nationalities in Nigeria. We have the southeast, the eastern part of Nigeria, where predominantly the Igbos. We have the southwest, where the Yorubas, and we have the north, the Hausa Fulani. So, all from, history, Nigeria has been standing on a tripod. But it does seem that since from independence, our influence politically has continued to dwindle because of, it looked like it's a planned agenda to annihilate Ndi Igbo. Because immediately after the coup and counter-coup and the civil war, all efforts for Ndi Igbo to be accommodated into the mainstream of Nigerian politics or Nigerian agenda or Nigerian project have been tactically rebuffed, and we have been marginalized. It's not news, after the civil war, the Gowon administration agreed of no victor, no vanquish, and they agreed for this 3R, which is rehabilitation, reconstruction, and reconstruction, rehabilitation, and to rebuild the Igbo area. But up to now, the southeast, in particular, the rebuilding, the reconstruction, and rehabilitation has not taken place, and it leaves a lot of questions. Even the current happenings, especially in this republic, the Igbos they are not even in the third, we are in the sixth. The deputy leader of the House of Representatives is our highest person in government. It's never been like that. In other areas, including the main issue, the arrest and detention of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, even when he has been acquitted by the courts, he's still being held against without a real reason to hold him, which I will also delve into later. So the Igbos have been marginalized in Nigerian agenda since independence. It's got worse over the years. And I call for a change. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. That's a brilliant opening. Chief Barrister Ken, let me come to you for your own assessment. Has the reconciliation that the post-genocidal war was supposed to bring, has it ever happened? And in the current dispensation, since APC came to power, 9.5 years or thereabout now, like Dr. Nana rightly pointed out, it seems that the Ndi Igbo have been relegated continuously. So do we have any influence, especially in the current ruling party, the APC? I will come to how we can exert those influence for the freedom of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, but just give us your overview assessment of the situation.
Thank you, Chief Nice. Welcome. To be fair to Nigeria, just as the last speaker said, after the war, the civil war, the issue of no victor, no vanquished was actually part of the main focus of the Nigerian side, and Igbos looked upon it. And the Igbos in Nigeria has been, when it comes to real Nigerians, the Igbos are the real Nigerians. Because in all states of Nigeria, no matter where, even the hinterlands, you will see an Igbo man thriving in his or her trade. Which is why when you talk about Nigeria, you cannot do without an Igbo man. But when it comes to the share of the Commonwealth, you find out that the no victor, no vanquished is actually not in place. Because from your own point of view, my own point of view, or even the way everybody sees it, even a real objective person who is not even an Igbo man will know that Igbos have been subjected to a second-class citizen in Nigeria. When you talk about maybe the APC situation, it has to do with, there's no way you can be from maybe PDP or APGA and then become something, maybe a minister or even a president in APC. So there's no way, it doesn't work that way, except maybe by God's glory, like the case of Wike. But the issue is that the marginalization led to this APC thing that made it impossible for Igbo man to thrive. Buhari, you can see another loss of souls in Igbo land under the APC, and even our own Nnamdi Kanu has been in incarceration, even after rendition. So we see that things are not going well. But when things like this happen, the way we go about it is actually what matters a lot. We have the right to self-determination, we have the right to everything. But I know that it's something like this that made it possible for a call like right to self-determination came into being. Because if we have been, maybe Igbo has been accepted in Nigerian politics or body politic, the issue of this self-determination will not even arise. They even created South outside Igbo land. I know that most of them, some of them are Igbo, some of them are not Igbos, but there was nothing like even South had before. It's just to make sure that that oil in the in Niger Delta is outside, is off from Igbo land, or maybe outside the reach of Igbo land, and they divided the load themselves without Igbo person. So in a nutshell, the Igbos have not been well treated in Nigerian politics, and then we are still being marginalized in all spheres of appointment. The APC you're talking about today, you see how many of them in this APC, how many of Igbo men or Igbo women or Igbo politicians are part of the APC government, even ministerial appointment, even also in the House, senators, and also the House of Rep. So you see that in a way, there's nothing like Igbo land, or Igbo man, or Igbo agenda in this APC government. So we are not in any way being represented in what is happening right now.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we'll come back to explain it further. Let me just bring in Mazi Azubike. Mazi, the continued incarceration of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been widely recognized as the collective detention of Ndi Igbo. In some cases, I personally argued that they have used Nnamdi Kanu to test the waters of how generally they will treat Ndi Igbo. Do you share this view, if you like call it sentiment? And if so, how do we regain our pride of place? How do we regain influence?
Thank you very much, Chief. Nice. And to just build on the foundation that had been laid by my fellow panelists, and to go straight to your question, one can answer yes, other group of persons can answer no to that very question, depending on the perspective we are coming from. But the truth is that after the war and also the so-called 3R that were proposed to reconcile, to reconstruct, and to rehabilitate those promises that were never kept, and still to today nobody wants to talk about it. And to make the matter worse, history was scrapped from the national curriculum so that people don't have any resources to revisit. So they thought that over time the injustice, social injustice, and other type of injustice that have been meted to the Igbo lands, that injustice built up over time until the emergence of the then Mazi and other people, including Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And it brought to bear the agitation for the self-determination of the Biafran people. And they felt that this matter we thought had been buried and closed in perpetuity, and also cemented by the removal of history from the Nigerian school curriculum, that somebody somewhere is still thinking about this. He just resurrected this matter. How are we going to tackle it? How are we going to ensure that this matter never rise up again? Let's put our resources together and galvanize all arsenals we can lay our hands on to get him incarcerated and imprison him in perpetuity. And by so doing, we would have killed the Biafran idea. That is the erroneous thinking. But unfortunately, they thought that by so doing, they will bring to an end the agitation of Biafra, or the idea for the freedom of Biafra. And in their own small thinking, they thought that catching Mazi Nnamdi Kanu alone will kill the whole idea. Unfortunately, no, it's not going to kill the whole idea. And right now, they have continued against all odds, defying all known precedents. Because we lawyers, we were taught precedents in school. In fact, I used to tell some of my friends that this is the most difficult time to answer a lawyer in Nigeria. Because all the laws that we were taught in the universities, in the law school, and which we practice, that were built on some precedents, those precedents have been broken because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is involved. And they also feel that the economy of the Southeast and that have started coming up through their enterprising spirit, and which were not degraded by the civilian administration since after the war. And no matter what you did to the Igbo man, they are still springing up. And now I think that what we can do is to capture Nnamdi Kanu, put him in prison, ensure that there is instability and insecurity in the southeast, so that by so doing the economy of the Igbo people will crumble, and we would have ended up achieving our aims and objectives. So these are some of the grand plans, and kidnapping Mazi Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya and incarcerating him the way they are doing just now is one of those agendas. And the sole objective is to ensure that the Igbo man never rise to consequence. If you ask questions too much about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, we will come after you or come after your business. And then push fear. Even those people who are governors that used to talk about Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, for instance, Governor Soludo talked about him. Where is he today? Is he still talking about Nnamdi Kanu? Has he paid him another visit? The answer is no. Other governors in the southeast, because they are afraid of his fame, and they feel that each time we raise our voice to support this man, then those in the authorities or those who have what it takes, or those who cause the shot in the corridors of power, will come after either our businesses or either our political interests or families or something of that nature. So, to answer your question straight, there is no one side to it. Some school of thought will say no, some school of thought will say yes. And on my own part, it is partly true. And on the other side, I believe that there is no way that the Igbo people can be caged in perpetuity or remove the idea of Biafra in perpetuity just because they have succeeded in holding Mazi Nnamdi Kanu down.
Thank you, Mazi. Without justice, there is no peace. Also to point out that I'm fully aware that recently Abia State Governor Alex Oti has gone to see the president on behalf of Onyendu. We commend that. We don't know whether it's yielded any fruit, but he's of the Labour Party. Now, very infinitesimal minority party, if you like. Despite all the landslide, we heard that IPOB won the rigged election. Alex Oti is just one person, and unfortunately, not of the ruling APC. Doc, I'm coming back to you. From all wonderful views that of you have submitted as preamble, if you like, it is very clear that we have lost that pride of place you talked about, pre-independence. Can we regain that? Can Ndi Igbo influence Tinubu and APC to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu or to listen to our demands? Is it feasible? The body language we are seeing, I don't know, I don't want to be pessimistic, but let me ask you, Doc, is it achievable?
Thank you very much, and thank you very much, listeners. I am a Democrat and I am an optimist. I think 100% is achievable. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, I want to appeal to President Tinubu and the APC leaders, including governors from Southeast and other opinion leaders across the country, to appeal passionately for the unconditional release of Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, because he's been a peaceful man, and he was agitating for the freedom of his people. He's now a prisoner of conscience, and people who were in his category, people like Sowore people like Igbo, have all been granted pardon by our president, President Tinubu. So we are appealing that what is good for the geese is also good for the gander, because Mazi Nnamdi Kanu had been freed by the courts, so he deserves to be freed. And I call on all peaceful people around the world to appeal and mount pressure for his unconditional release. I know that Ndi Igbo has been at the forefront of calling for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. When I was president, we organized a few protests in London, in which this was one of our main objectives. And even our late President General, Chief Dr. Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, was at the forefront of this as well. And so many other notable Igbo leaders have been calling for the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. We have, important people in APC. We have ministers, we have governors from Southeast. And I believe that the Southeast Governors Forum should work together with our prominent traditional rulers, captains of industries, and political class. If they come together and work with other people across the country, I don't see why he will not be released. Ndi Igbo can work together with unity of purpose. Nothing is impossible. And I think it will be in the best interest of Nigeria if peace returns to the Southeast. When Nnamdi Kanu is released, it will solve most of the insecurity issues in the Southeast and bring calm and sense of unity and purpose and belonging to our people. I know that there was amnesty program that was granted to South people, and all the people were released. Even in Northeast, amnesty had been granted even to terrorists, but Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is not a terrorist. He is just a freedom fighter. And like I said, he's now a prisoner of conscience. And I believe that we have enough people. If our people work across party lines, across business lines, across all interests, we still have, powerful people. People like Chief Emeka Anyoko. There's no place that he enters that they will not listen to him. If our people can coalesce around such prominent figures and they work together, among politicians, among big businessmen, and we have people in Lagos, in Abuja, in Kano, you name it, all around the country. Nigeria is standing on the economic powerhouse of Ndi Igbo. And I believe that if our people, even in diaspora, we are like a tsunami, that if we all work together and use peaceful means, which is what we are known for, and negotiate diplomatically, I believe that it will not be long. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will be set free. And I call again for the unconditional release of Onyendu Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Tahalo.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you for that passionate contribution, Barrister Ken. So now let's go away from any sort of pessimism. Let's be optimistic.
Yeah.
Now we know it's possible. How can Ndi Igbo actually influence APC and Tinubu? I'm a bit personally concerned that a lot of our politicians keep running to APC, the campaign, from PDP, from which other opposition party, to APC. And you will think that having taken such step, that they will be influential in the APC. Do you see that happening? Do you see us having that influence on Tinubu in particular and the party APC for him this release?
Thank you once again. When this release is possible, but the approach of going about it is what will determine when he will be released. The issue is our leaders that are running to APC are not committed leaders. I'm sorry to say. They are actually selfish leaders in APC. They are there on what is there for them, what is there for the people that they are representing, just like any other Nigerian politicians. So for them to influence Tinubu, even Tinubu himself or those APC members who see these people that come up from PDP to APGA or Labour to APC, they know what is going on. This cross-capital has been way of politicking in Nigeria. So, except we see committed leaders from Igbo land, even it could not even be APC, being member of APC, other parties, APGA, and also doing their politics very, very well to see that maybe when you vote for me, or maybe in the House, I vote for you on your own constituency or your project, you vote for me on my constituency and project. So on that ground, when it comes to a matter of Nnamdi, they can come say, okay, listen, we have to do something about this man. He's been there for a long time. I'll give you an instance. The case of Sunday Igbo, we went together also with the Yorubas, the Feniferes, in Trafalgar Square the day we came for this protest. So, and this particular day we are talking about, we are all together. Yorubas and Igbos, we are together. We are talking about how to work together and make something happen in Nigeria. So it's just a matter of trying to make sure that, make them feel that is to trust them, or for them to trust you. You make them to trust you, you gain their trust, and we gain their trust. And from there, we can see that something will happen. But if you leave it for the Igbos alone, it's not that they cannot do it or influence anything, but as I said, they are still selfish. So it has to do with togetherness, teamwork amongst our leaders who are committed, and also some leaders in other part of Nigeria. I know that we have people that are also going for Nnamdi Kanu. They are actually very, very sympathetic to Nnamdi Kanu's situation. Even that Sunday Igbo himself, even some Yorubas, even people from Mid-Belt, Middle Belt, people from South, they know what is happening. And they know that if we can come together and do it very well, we can actually secure the release of Nnamdi Kanu in every way. But the way the Nigerian government are doing it now, even for the extent of denying him his legal right, or maybe visitation, which is actually something that is not to be pleaded for. For him to have access to his legal team is very, very important. That is actually where we have to start from. Maybe saying that he has access, he has the right. He has the right for his own attorneys. He has the right, freedom of expression, freedom of religion, freedom of anything they want. But Igbos should come together, because of Indira Gandhi or Mahatma Gandhi, we remember during the independence of India, so that they have power. They lack power, they have the population, just like Igbos. What did they do? When the British refused to give them independence, everything they say, just like they do to Igbo land, they refused. What did they do? Peaceful demonstration. They lie down on all the streets, even where they were passed to do anything they want to do. And then the people cannot even find their way. They say, no, this thing is too much for us. They give them independence. So the approach is very, very important in this situation. So his release is possible and tenable, with a very good way of doing it to make sure it happens. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Chief. Mazi, I'm coming to you. We all agree that we can influence things, despite how Nigeria has placed us, apparently. Does the rest of Nigeria, not just politicians, take Ndi Igbo for granted now? In this APC, we have seen, as I said, the attitude to Ndi Igbo is out of negligence, really. Is it because we are not speaking with strong voice? Are they taking us for granted? Mazi?
Thank you, Chief. Well, I can say that they are really taking us for granted because it appears that they notice that we are taking ourselves too for granted. The condition the country Nigeria placed the Igbo man, which the Igbo man appears to have accepted, then made other people that we share the country with to take us for granted because it appears we have resigned to fate and are taking things the way they are. Therefore, it is important that we change our strategy. One of the panelists mentioned earlier that if you are looking for the people who really had wanted Nigeria to work, assuming the country is going to work, were the Igbos. I am one of those people who have lived in different parts of Nigeria, and I even hear and speak their language. So I understand how it works because there are people I understand their culture. And I know the way they took us. So whenever it comes to where they can take advantage of, or wherever they can exploit our ingenuity, exploit our resources to their own advantage, they will call us into it. Or whenever it comes to something that matters to the Igbo people as a whole, they stand aloof. For instance, majority of other parts, I use the word majority. I'm not saying that everyone shares the same sentiment. Majority of them feel that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu can stay there as long as they want. Some of them even wishing that unfortunately it's not going to die there. But that is what they're wishing. They do not want to join their voice together to demand for his release. Even if you want to try a man in such circumstances, you can still grant him bail pending trial. Now that they are hiding under the cloak that the Supreme Court asked that the trial resume. It was easy and convenient for them to obey that aspect of the Supreme Court order. But when the Court of Appeal absorbed him all the charges and ordered his immediate and unconditional release, including all the order from other regional courts and even the United Nations Human Rights Commission, they took those ones for granted and refused to obey that aspect of the order. But immediately the Supreme Court said he can go back to his trial. They quickly obeyed that one. So they are picking and choose which order of the courts to obey at their own convenience. And nobody is saying something. Especially the people in the political class that has the power to call the shots. People have been calling for political solution. It is unfortunate that we come to the point where we are. Initially, when Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was arrested in 2015, I had said among my friends then, in fact, if not that my late father warned me never to bait, I had wanted to bait. I told them that Buhari administration in 8 years can never convict Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. And it happened just the same way I predicted. I'm not a prophet, but I know it was not going to happen. So on and on up to where we are, they have continued that aspect of the illegality. And they see that they are not making headway. They are now asking for political solution. Now, if we are to take the political solution, which is part of what we are saying now for his release, does not happen in vacuum. You discuss it in a round table. Unfortunately, they shot themselves on the foot when they declared IPOB a terrorist organization, thus making it impossible for the leadership of IPOB to come out and to be part of that negotiation. So other people they are banking on to negotiate on behalf of IPOB or on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu are people who probably doesn't share his idea. are people who are happy with the way Nigeria is because it is their enterprises, and they are milking it because if Nigeria begins to work, it is their own loss. So they want the status quo to remain the way it is, because as it is like this, they will have opportunity to either become ministers, become governors, become senators, and what have you. So, for us to have a sustainable political solution, the key actors, you have to create an enabling environment for them to be part of that negotiation. Because what they may ask, political solution does not just happen. It is something for something. They will be asking, what are you putting on the table before we will accept your proposal? And one thing they may be asking Ndi Nnamdi Kanu to do is what he may not want to do. If you give me a political solution and if you render me useless when I come out of detention, I will not be able to exercise my freedom of association. I will not be able to say things the way I see it. Is that a solution? Is that going to be sustainable? Of course, it's not going to be sustainable. And when I decide to renege, probably to live my life like every other few citizen, you will come after me and you will say, I broke the promise. So, in this situation where we are, it is important that we look at those who are coming to that negotiation. It is not difficult to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. It is as easy as ABCD. And the Constitution of Nigeria, even though a 40 document, but that is the only law upon which the country, that is the major law or the main law upon which the country is governed, have already given them power. Section 174 of the Constitution created opportunity for donated a lot of power to the Attorney General of the Federation in these circumstances to institute and to discontinue. The Attorney General does not need any difficulty. In fact, he does not even need to appear in court. He can just put it in writing and give to one of the lawyers in the Federal Ministry of Justice, appear in that court on that day, and announce to the judge that we, the federal government, have decided to discontinue this matter, and nobody can question them. Although the Constitution said it has to be done in the interest of the public, it has to be done in the interest of justice. All those boxes have already been ticked because it is the interest of the public, especially the southeastern people, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is released. It is also in the interest of justice that he be released. And it does not take the Attorney General of the Federation a difficult thing to do. It's just an order from the federal, from the president, and it will be done. That is also where the people of the South is assuming those people in the corridor of power, the political class from the Southeast, assuming this matter is of their interest. That is where they have to come in to negotiate with the president and to demand that this is what we want. But unfortunately, the way they are going about it, trying to exclude the people or trying to demand what will be impossible or difficult for Nnamdi Kanu to grant, it's like trying to put him in a difficult situation or trying to say, we do not want to release you. Because if you ask me to do what I know, will render me almost useless. If I give it to you and predicate that on my release, I may choose to remain where I am.
Okay, Mazi, thank you so much. Thank you. That is quite detailed. Let me involve other panelists. Doc, I'm coming back to you. You mentioned that the highest position Ndi Igbo currently have in this government is the Deputy Speaker of the House of Representatives, Benjamin Kanu. And also in the federal cabinet, there are, very few strong Igbo representation. But recently, wife of our eternal leader, Jim Chukwemeka Odimegwu Ojukwu, in the person of Iyom Bianca Odinaka Ojukwu, was appointed Minister of State, which technically is a junior minister for the Foreign Affairs Ministry. And talking about using political solution, I'm very much aware that I know her stance, I'm sure you do as well, on Ndi Igbo Kanu's incarceration, illegal detention. Is this an opportunity for us now to start that process of political solution?
Yeah, thank you very much. The appointment of Bianca Odumegwu is a welcome one. Is a light at the end of the tunnel. I think it presents a good opportunity for the Igbos to rally round. The political solution does not involve only people in the APC. Just like I opined before, we have very prominent international figures who are still alive, living legends like Chief Emeka Anyoko, who with the Patriots has been vocal of late. I think he is someone that could lead the charge. And if the traditional rulers, our captains of industries, people like Allen Onyema and Kubana and others, Ato Eze, and our governors and our senators and the ministers, across party lines, and diasporans. If we all work together, we can achieve this. This is what I believe in, because we have all it takes. It is not something that can be achieved by one group, people only in APC. No, this matter affects the Southeast, the Igbos. It touches the fabric of our existence. It's like we are being annihilated, and it is an opportunity for us to work together, both locally, nationally, and internationally, to get a group and get an audience with the president, because the president is listening. We don't need, to discuss or give Nnamdi Kanu condition. It should be an unconditional release, just like Igboho, just like Sowore, just like they done to people in the South, that they granted amnesty, just like they're doing to people in the North and South, Northeast, and so on. So our own should not be different. It's very easy. There is nothing really they're charging Mazi Nnamdi Kanu for. And I think that we can do it. And Ohaneze, to be fair, had been leading the charge, as well. And we should all work together. We will achieve this. So that's my view. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Chief Ken, let's look at many of the big wigs, the very strong squad that Dr. Nnamdi Igbo mentioned. We have not been hearing from them. We are not even aware if they are doing anything behind the scene. Let us say they don't want to talk too much, but there is no sign that they are actually getting involved or interested in the release of Onyendu. In the Senate, in the House of Representatives, all the Biafra or Igbo representations we have are mute. They are completely mute. They're not even. I'm not heard. Maybe correct me if I'm wrong. Anybody?
Can I interject? Sorry.
Yes.
I think we need to be for people like Vibrant Ugochinyere has been very vocal, and a lot of other parliamentarians have actually before this current dispensation have actually visited, and some have also been in the league. I think that we need to encourage people to do more. Ohaneze should lead. It's unfortunate the late Chief Emmanuel Iwanyang, because he is a tall figure, a prominent figure that is able to rally everybody around, and they were pushing very hard, to get this matter at the top table, to make sure that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu was released. It was one of the best wishes of late Chief Emmanuel Iwanyanwu, Ahaije Jamba Ndi Igbo. May his soul rest in peace. And I believe that if prominent, well-spoken art people like Ugochinyere and Governor Soludo, Alex Oti, and Southeast Governors Forum, if these people, even Mba has also, I think, has spoken, they should lead the charge with our traditional rulers. You know that Obi of Onitsha has also been very vocal on the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So I think that if all these prominent figures work together and we present a common front, get audience with the president, since he released Igboho, Sowore, and other people, I think it's time to unconditionally release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu if our people play their game very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Doc. Thank you. Yes, I totally agree with you. Some of the names you mentioned, Ugochinyere, for one, and all that. Yes, but so, Chief Ken, I was just directing that question to you.
Yes.
You want me to rephrase it, but in any way, I appreciate the intervention of Dr. Nana to at least strengthen it, so you know exactly what I'm saying in particular is on the floor of the both houses, upper and the lower chambers, the federal legislature, we've not seen any move. Or is that not another way we can? Because we are talking about how we can influence things. And the legislative procedure, to me, is a way of influencing things as well. Just before you come in, let me quickly inform our listeners that our lines are now open. You can join us and contribute to this topic. How can Ndi Igbo influence President Tinubu and the APC to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu? Calling the numbers to call on WhatsApp is +44 744 818 3132. I take it again. +44 the UK code 744 8183 132. You may also reach us on Telegram. The numbers to call are +44 781 77 96032. Telegram once more, +44 781 77 96032. And you may also interact with us live on Facebook. Biafrans in UK is the Facebook page name. You can interact there as well. And we'll be glad to hear your own views. You can ask the panelist question. Now, Chief Ken, yes, I'll take it from there.
Okay. Thank you very much once again. Just as the last speaker said, if they come up with a good idea, come together with a good idea or a good approach of getting to Tinubu. First of all, as I said earlier in my last submission, I mentioned that our political leaders are very, very selfish and non-committant in what they are doing when it comes to the betterment of Igbo land. I know there are a few that are actually very decent. All of them, even the one he mentioned, the names he mentioned, most of them, they are all political jobbers, some to say. So they use it like a political stunt, a business stunt, to gain votes or to gain popularity. But within them, they know that they don't want them. We know very well that somehow there was speculation that these leaders are the ones that actually saying, don't release Nnamdi Kanu, because once he comes out, maybe people will not be listening to the governors or the leaders, but listen to Nnamdi Kanu, because he is actually the person they see as their leader, who speaks their mind, what they want to the government. But come to think about it, during the last election, the whole Igbos, I know it's not about sentiment, but Igbos voted en masse for P2B. Actually, Tinubu was actually battered in Lagos. We know, everybody knew that Tinubu never won in Lagos. Obi won in Lagos. They still say Obi won maybe when they announced the election, but on not normal circumstance, it was like a landslide. You know, so Tinubu has a grudge against the Igbos. Bear in mind that Tinubu was never the person that released Igboho, and then also maybe Sore. But he came to meet Nnamdi Kanu in detention. And the approach we are using to get Nnamdi Kanu by all means necessary, devoid of diplomatic or tactful way of doing things, is actually the problem we have. And when you go to the National Assembly, even the House of Assemblies, Igbo State is off it, because Igbo State, we know we have an apologist as a governor, I'm sorry to say, but it's a fact. So, in the Senate, for example, who is speaking? Only Abaribe is talking. That's the only person that is vocal in all the Igbo senators when it comes to maybe Eastern affairs or anything that concerns the Igbos. Oh, that's not just there. We're just there. So there's no way we can do this thing, as I said earlier, except through teamwork. Coming together of these Igbo leaders, they need a kind of a conference within themselves, all the Igbo leaders, to think tank about what is wrong with Igbo land. Because when you're talking about releasing Nnamdi Kanu, it's affecting them. That's why they're talking about it. When they say, like tomorrow, I spoke with somebody this evening, he said, oh, you can call me anytime because tomorrow is sit at home in the East. It's a fact. Is it good for our business? No. And these governors are telling you, oh, I am the governor, I am actually the chief security officer of the state. But what is happening? Who is actually the chief security officer of the state? The people, because power belongs to them. And they listen to the person who they feel is their government. You know? So it's actually clean the business. And that is why when you say that Soludo talked about no, they know what they're saying. They're doing it because it's affecting them. They're not talking because it came from their mind. So when they go soul searching, come together to think, or reason together, think tank, what do we do? What approach do we use to actually influence the president, Mr. President, to release this gentleman? I think it will work, but not like going talking maybe for newspaper to say, okay, oh, he said that, people will think, oh, it's good. No. So, but another one will be to influence these people, for them to actually do it for us. I mean, our leaders start talking. It's for us. We know everybody sympathizing the whole of Nigeria. Believe me, 60% of Nigerians knew and they know that Igbos are being marginalized. Even Showore, from what he said last time, he met Onyendu. He went to visit him then. And then he saw actually that Nigerians are actually playing on a script, which was the aftermath of a civil war. And they have already made it possible. Made it impossible for an Igbo man to emerge even as a president. So anything that will make Igbo man to submit to their script very, very well. And that's what they are applying on. And then if we gather ourselves together, do the obvious by think tanking, knowing the best approach. We have lots of intellectuals in Igbo land. Even Nigeria cannot do without Igbo land. Even the Igbo person, Igbo traders everywhere. We are when you talk about the tripod, we are actually the bane of Nigerian what do I call it, existence as it stands now. When it comes to that tripod, if we go about it, if we just take off the tripod will fall. One of the stand of the tripod, it will fall. So they know very well that without Igbo man, even a Kogi man, when I went to Nigerian law school then, he said that actually the real Nigerians are the Igbos, because they were all the nook and crannies of all parts of Nigeria, and they are doing very, very well. Developing that nation, not even, you see the impact, see the influence of them. So out of jealousy, maybe the way they do, or maybe how they display their wealth, they see those areas they visited, that village, they see it as their own home. So come to think about it, how will Nigeria let them go? Because without them, there's nothing like Nigeria. But we play ourselves down, we bring ourselves down, that nobody is seeing us as people that are very, very serious, because in a way, we are selfish. They say we are Republican in nature, but somehow our republicanism is actually like it's like more of selfishness. What is there for me? And that is why until we come together tomorrow, we are here for a common good. And our leaders are there to actually do the biddings of the people that voted them in. There will be no way we can effect the release of Nnamdi Kanu if we don't come together and also team with other part of Nigerians to let them see reasons for themselves. And to make Nigeria see that there's no way that Igbo man is also part of this country. They cannot be treated as a second-class citizen in their own country. On that ground, Nnamdi Kanu will be released. Igbos will be respected. Even the money we have, for example, we don't use it to our own good. Because when you see somebody today, I'm still afraid, when you see that buildings are being demolished in most part of Nigeria, maybe Lagos or Abuja, and you see somebody from here is going there to still buy land in Lagos. So when you don't have enabling environment to make the big companies or big industries to come up and set up their companies or industries in your own part of the country, then it doesn't work. You use it to do it in Lagos, create employment in Lagos, while we have even forests and everywhere in Igbo land where you can do it. You make it possible for people to come, enabling environment to bring in big things. On that ground, things will come up. All our leaders, are they actually the leaders now?
Thank you, Chief Kendo. Yes, it's been established unity, sincerity of purpose, and an element of integrity are some of the ways we can influence this hard government. I must confess, it's a very hard setup Tinubu has in place. So to displace it or influence it, you really need to be strong yourself. So, but if we are not wanted in Nigeria, what other options do we have? Are we prepared to exit? Yes, we are doing all the good things in Nigeria. We are the best Nigerians, but the Nigeria doesn't appreciate us and doesn't even look like they want us, except when it suits them. So my question to you, Mazi, is how may Ndi Igbo prepare to exit Nigeria if this ugly present situation persists?
Thank you, Chief. See, the problem we have is foundational. So Nigeria was built on a very faulty foundation. And unfortunately, the people who run the enterprise keep saying that it is not negotiable. It is erroneous for them to believe that Nigeria is non-negotiable, or that the unity or the indissolubility of Nigeria is non-negotiable. It is negotiable, but they choose to tell themselves what they want to hear, ignoring the truth. In the first place, we, the people of Nigeria, were never involved in the naming of the country itself. If you look at the history of Nigeria, assuming we still have access to the history, you will see that Nigeria as an entity, not the people that were in existence there, Nigeria as an entity was run and owned as a business called Royal Niger Company around 1886 up to 1890. And that Royal Niger Company, which is called Nigeria, was sold to the British for £865,000 then. And since then, the Lord Lugard came up through the girlfriend in 1914, named Nigeria what it is. We were never involved. Different tribes of over 250 ethnic groups. Some literature has it that we have more than 300 ethnic groups, even speak over 500 languages. How do you think that you will bring these people from different ethnic groups, different ideas, couple them together, and you say they cannot be involved in the negotiation. Of course, you are telling yourself the lie. And that is why we have not been able, to rise to the point where we can call that place a country of our own that is working. Almost everyone, majority of every Nigeria has already seceded. Their mind is no more in the country. They are just there because they do not have the power to create a country of their own. So in the circumstances where we are, it is important that if Nigeria has to be sustainable, if they want to build a sustainable Nigeria, we must negotiate our corporate existence. And if we cannot negotiate our corporate existence, then we have to create an enabling environment. Do not demonize freedom-fighting movements. It is not a crime to seek self-determination. It is granted even in Nigerian constitution, the African Charter of People and Human Rights, that Nigeria ratified many years ago in 1983. Self-determination was granted. Even the Bills of Rights, some of the international Bills of Rights, Universal Declaration of Human Rights and the International Right on Civil and Political Rights, they all granted self-determination. And Nigeria keep priding themselves as a democratic state and also a country that respects rule of law. Why is it difficult for you to allow some of these things that makes a place a state with rule of law? Allow people who want to agitate for self-determination. Let there be a referendum. If the majority of the people agree that they should go, fine and good. But unfortunately, like some of us here that lives in Scotland, for instance, there are some Nigerians here in Scotland that support the idea of the independence of Scotland. And they are happy with it. They do not see any problem with that. But if you mention that you want Biafra to exit from Nigeria, they will see you as if you are speaking evil, or that you are talking about something that is not true. So hypocrisy is what we have to deal with. We have to accept the reality that Nigeria can be negotiated. Give people a level playing ground for them to discuss it. If majority of them are said through a peaceful referendum that they want a separate state, allow it. There are countries where it has happened. Even the former USSR disintegrated. They thought they can never disintegrate. They have disintegrated up to 15 states. Yugoslavia thought they will never disintegrate, but they disintegrated up to 6 states. So on and on and on, we continue to say Nigeria is non-negotiable. Nigeria is non-negotiable. But you are not putting a proper thing in place to guarantee the indissolubility of Nigeria. So in these circumstances where we are, it is important that the Igbo man have to wake up and take their pride of place. They shouldn't accept to be treated as second class or third class citizen. Ndi Igbo na-asị onye ajụrụ na-ajụ onwe ya mba. If they have rejected you, you need to pick yourself up, dust yourself, and say, look, I recognize who I am, I can do it. Then you come on board and say, this country has not accepted you. Okay, look at all our investment in different parts of the country. And in the midst of that investment, they are degrading you. But this night, as I'm talking to you, people will still close a land transaction. Igbo people in other parts of the country. You do not have a piece of land in Igbo land. But they keep acquiring more and more property. And that is why I said initially that the people took us for granted because we first took ourselves for granted. A lot of red lights, a lot of things have demonstrated that we are not wanted. And you are forcing yourself in the union. So it is important that you recognize that, look, unless these people are ready to work with me, I am not going to force myself on them. If they do not want me, I can think about how to collaborate with other people who want our freedom. And IPOB have presented itself the opportunity to be that driving force, just as the political negotiation that people are talking about right now, and just as my co-panelists have said, especially the last speaker. He mentioned, and that is true, the selfishness of the people in the political class from Igbo land. The people that issue of Nnamdi Kanu affects sincerely are not within the corridor of power. And to make the matter worse, Nigeria State declared IPOB a terrorist organization, which we all know that they are not. And they block every judicial avenue for that order to be vacated until recently when the matter came up again. But the point I'm trying to make is that the IPOB and some people who have the interest of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu at heart are the only people who sincerely want the release of Nnamdi Kanu Keta Kichi. But you decided to close those people out by declaring them a terrorist, making it impossible for them to come out to meet the people that matters. Not many IPOB members have the contact of the president. Not many of them can access the president. But there are some Igbo people in diaspora and within Nigeria that have access to the president, that can give the president a phone call and they will answer. So now, if you cut those people who need to make that move to consult with these people that matters, that have access to the president, and make a demand or even plea, I say, please come on board. We need you to push this for us. You see, since the death of Chief Chukwemeke Ezike and Chief Mbazike Amechi, we no longer have those people who can stand at the forefront. Now, Chief Emeka Anyoko, who have the influence and who have the contact, it is time that he has to rise up to the occasion and play that role of elder statesman. I believe that if we call any governor in the southeast on phone today, that governor will pick a call, and they can even meet him in Ikoyi where he lives. And they will discuss and say, look, I just need you to come with me and we book appointment to see the president and make a demand. This is what we are asking for. Release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu first. Order the Attorney General to go and enter Nolly. There is something we call it Nolly Fusiko. I'm sorry to use that language for people who are not lawyers anyway, but just order the Attorney General to approach the court, appear in court and tell the court that they are no more interested to proceed this case. If they do not want to do that, there is alternative to that. They have access to the judges. They speak with the judges offline. Let them know that the judge can grant bail. Let him grant bail first, then we start talking. You cannot keep him in an inhuman and degrading condition, and you want him to be in the right frame of mind to sign an agreement that he believes he can abide with. That cannot happen. You are just simply telling yourself lies or simply saying, I do not want this to be done. So it is high time those people have influence in Igbo land, both in political angle, both in business circle, both as elder statesman. It is time they play that role of elder statesman or political juggernaut they are answering and start the move, and we will be here to support them. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Listeners, our lines are open. I'll give the numbers again. On WhatsApp is +44 744 8183 132. I take it again, +44 744 8183 132. You can also reach us via Telegram on the number +44 781 779 60 +44 781 779 6032 for Telegram. We'll be happy to take your calls before the end of the show. Maybe in the next 20 minutes, if you can call, we'll be happy to listen to your own views or if you have questions to ask. Chief Barrister Ken, Barrister Zubike has also touched on some legal framework that can be activated to perhaps influence the presidency to release Onyendu. Now, looking at maybe what I would call economic sanctions, do you think Ndi Igbo will have the mind to start exerting pressure on the Nigerian economy by carrying out internal economic sanction, withdrawing maybe investment in outside of Igbo land or Biafra land, and disengaging in other economic activities? I know Ndi Igbo, the way Nigeria believes that we love money so much, and then they use it against us to divide us to ensure that we are kept down. So what other practical steps can we invoke that will affect Nigeria, not affect Ndi Igbo or Biafrans more?
Thank you again, once again. Nigerians need Igbos, and Igbos also need Nigerians. You cannot exist in a vacuum. Even if we get independence today, you will also trade with Nigeria bilaterally. So in a way, you can use economic sanction against a country. But in this situation, it will be very difficult for Ndi Igbo for them to withdraw all their businesses from all this part of Nigerians to come to concentrate in Igbo land. The only thing they can do is to bring the businesses home, make sure that their headquarters are home. Then they get an environment that will help the indigenous or the Biafrans to gain employment within their own land without resorting to other states, except willingly as we are here in Europe or any part of the world. But the sanction could be possible where Nigerians, those of them that are rich, could now sponsor kind of publicity, apart from maybe, I think my learned counsel mentioned about Nole prosecute, whereby maybe the Attorney General will now issue that, he's unwilling to pursue the case any longer, to withdraw the case. So in this situation, that is whereby maybe they decide to, if they have done something like talk together and they listen together. But if Nigerians, I mean, apart from not only Igbos, some well-meaning even Nigerians can sponsor international protest against Nigerian government on the continuous and consistent detention of Nnamdi Kanu and also his denial of his attorneys and human rights, then I think it will be possible for them to gain his release. We can sponsor publications everywhere, internationalize it like Nigeria did in South Africa during the apartheid days. Then you can see them talking about, apartheid is a crime against humanity. We did it very well, and they were using these resources together. Even in America, they were thinking, who is the brain behind it? Because our international politics was African-centered by Murtala Mohammed. And then they said, it's Nigeria. What led to Muhammad's death is history, that we know actually where it was coming from. They may think, Dinka killed him. Yes, he killed him, but it was intentionalized because Nigeria spearheaded the crime against humanity in South Africa, where Nelson Mandela was incarcerated, just like Nnamdi Kanu is now. So that is the only way the sanction can work, because when we start talking about it, international community will now be made aware of it and start sanctioning Nigeria. The first time Nigeria said that IPOB is what do you call it, a terrorist organization, America disagreed with them. UK disagreed with them. Why? How did it happen? It was through these international publications mounting pressures on the government, which we still do here. We need to do it consistently, making people aware, other countries are aware. Even the Kenyans themselves, they have to start talking about themselves. Why was this guy renditioned from Kenya to Nigeria? How did it happen? Then they have to start talking also. Make other African countries start talking. Make Nigerians, the Western nations start talking. That actually there's need to release this person. And when they see reason, there will be sanction. If they will give Nigerians kind of mandate to release Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. If not, they will be sanctioned when they start coming. And we know very well that the government with the economy is on a shaky level. But the problem we have, to be fair, in this situation, is this particular country we live in. They are in every way not part of the Igbo agenda. We know very well that Nigeria is even an expired country. Everybody is talking about it. We are not, nothing is nothing. We're not getting anything from Nigeria. Nigerians are not getting anything from Nigeria. Things are not done the way they're supposed to be done. It's all about abnormalities. So the only way is that international sanction, which could be financed through publication by the well-meaning Nigerians or well-meaning Igbos or well-off Nigerians or Igbos that could be able to sponsor these publications and make people aware or international community aware of Igbo situation, of Nigerian situation. Recall the case of Biafra. You see, people went. My town guy, Professor Kenneth Dike, was what do you call it, ambassador extraordinary for Biafra. He was going from one country to another, telling them about the Biafrans, and we got recognition, like from Haiti, we got from even Zambia and some other African countries and some Western nations also who are sympathetic to the Biafran situation in these days in question. So this is actually what we need: diplomacy, shuttle diplomacy, and as well as publications to make international community aware of what is happening in Biafra land, what is happening in Nigeria. People are like the other day, this man Kanawa, I know, spoke about Nigerian or Biafra being under siege. Also came a former Nnamdi Kanu also spoke about Biafra being under siege with 1 kilometer, not even up to 1 kilometer of roadblocks, police and army mounting, intimidating the people of Nigeria. This will also be part of our packaging when we are actually talking about this international sanction and then making people aware, or the international community aware of Nigeria's situation or Biafra's situation. So if you talk about economic sanction in Nigeria by the Igbos bringing their businesses home, they cannot trade within themselves alone. They must need people to trade with. So in this situation, it cannot work. In the other way around, whereby they decide to bring their businesses home while still trading there, and then using their money to sponsor people outside or sponsoring publication all over the world to create awareness and publicity. I think that is where the sanction could be able to be.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Chief Barrister Ken. International relations, diplomacy, lobbying, and of course publicity, as you said, even social media warfare, if you like, because in Ndi Igbo, everybody can start tweeting, can start sending messages, sharing, and making sure they continuously bring up the case of Ndi Mazi Kanu on social media platforms, Facebook and the rest of it. IPOB has championed some of these moves. IPOB has what is called formerly Tuesday Twitter. Everybody member of IPOB is supposed to tweet about Nnamdi Kanu situation and Biafra's situation generally, our freedom, every Tuesday at least if you don't tweet daily. We also carrying out a lot of diplomatic moves, lobbying. I'm sure you must have heard in the news last week that Donald Trump's new chief of staff, Susie Wales, was IPOB chief lobbyist in the US in 2019. So that is a strong connect that we can leverage on, that we can actually use to our advantage when President Trump is sworn in January and he takes off strong force. Ndi Igbo, Biafrans all over the world, not just back home, can start doing something as you rightly said. I'm aware that this evening I spoke to a very strong member of American veterans of Igbo descent. It's called IPOB in the US. They have also good intentions on how they can support to put this pressure internationally and back home to assert our influence again, to see how we can release, how Nigerian government can be pressured to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. A lot of people are optimistic about President Trump having some influence in this regard. We hope so, but we have doing our own crafts as well. We are not just folding our arms and hoping. No, we are doing our own hard work to make it happen. But the most important thing is to get even non-IPOB members of Ndi Igbo and other Biafrans join in this push. Barrister Mazi, we will be rounding up shortly. Let me hear from you what you think overall the efforts we are making would yield. Barrister Ken just talked about the economic sanctions as well, even internally, what we can do. What are some of the practical steps, that are left as options for us?
Well, part of the major practical step in the circumstance is for us to rethink the idea of the Igbo people. And we need to come together as one and to speak in one voice, which may not be possible, but to a large extent. So until that is done, it may be difficult for us to chart a course. And again, the barriers, the institutional barriers in Nigeria that makes it impossible for people to enjoy their human rights and free speech should also be removed. I'm not really expecting so much, even though as much as I like to be optimistic, sometimes I'm a realist. I like to face the reality. So I do not really expect so much from the international community because their foreign policy, if you look at it critically, favors what is happening now with Nigeria. They believe that if Nigeria work better than how it is now, that it will not be in the interest of their foreign policy. So it is better the country continue to go down, and in such situation, the leaders will continue to rely heavily on them, and on that reliance, they will make a demand. It must be something for something. So, but as much as that is the case, we cannot fold our hands and throw in the towel. Can always think outside the box. If you have other Igbo people who do not share the same political opinion with you are your enemies. There are some of them who like what we are doing, but they lack the boldness to come out because the Nigerian state appears to demonize anyone that identifies with that IPOB idea. And you look at it now, they are also sponsoring some individual in the media houses, in some government places, to hijack some opportunities so that anytime the issue of IPOB is raised, you just have to block it off. But we should try as much as possible to break that barrier and continue to speak and continue to evangelize, to bring on board and to convince other people who do not share this idea, to convince them. And above all, we should also try in our own little way to contribute towards the overall peace and security of the Igbo land. the terrorism, the government-sponsored terrorism, was orchestrated so as to blame every insecurity happening in the Southeast on the IPOB. But right-thinking people knows that that is not true. It is a political strategy, and they are exploiting that strategy. That once we demonize these people, therefore, some people who may not be members of IPOB, but who had soft spots for IPOB, we start withdrawing it. If we make it impossible for them to go to the market on Mondays, then we will blame that on IPOB. Even when IPOB had long ago disassociated itself from that. And they know the individual issuing the order. What efforts have they made? Can they invest a quarter of what they invested to kidnap Nnamdi Kanu from Kenya on that individual who has been sponsoring that? Of course, they cannot do that because it is helping them to navigate through the challenges and to achieve their political objective. So, for us on our own ends, we cannot rest on our oars. It is true they make the streets difficult for us to walk on and to profess our political opinion. It is true that they are trying so much possible to find other people who have the same idea and to incarcerate them. But from your own end, as much as you find safety, you should be able to push the idea, because Biafra is an idea that can never die. It is sheer, should I say, something like hypocrisy for somebody to think that you will, or ignorance for somebody to think that by what they are doing now, they are going to end the agitation for Biafra, because that is not going to end even in our own lifetime and life to come. So, in summary, there is no one side to it, but we will continue to push those we can reach out to in the political class, among the political class, then in the business circle, then we have to reach out to them. Unfortunately, they are there for what they can get, because they know their fear is that if referendum happens now and the people of Biafra vote yes for Biafra, it will lead to them losing their office as governors, losing their office as senators, losing their office as that. So it is better that the contraction continue the way it is, as long as it is going to keep them in power. That is what they want. But we have to take advantage of the incoming administration of Donald Trump. Push publicity. We must not wait until they are sworn in. It is time to start making the necessary consultation, then revive the lobbying strategy. Now, if the lady that has been just appointed as the head of the chief of staff was the chief lobbyist, now that she's more closer to the corridor of power, it is time for us to exploit that as well. We have to think. We have to do whatever thing we can. We have nothing to lose if we make effort, but we will have everything to lose if we fold our hands and think that we are going to give up at this stage. We have crossed the Rubicon and there's no going back.
Thank you so much, Mazi. Thank you. We had a caller online on the Telegram, but your line just dropped. I was trying to get the caller on. Please call back. We have less than 10 minutes actually to end the show, but we'll be happy to hear from you. The numbers again are +44. For WhatsApp is +44 744 8183 132. I take it again, +44 744 8183 132. And then on Telegram, which we just had a caller on, is +44 781 77 96032. +44 781 7796032. Thank you very much to my panelists. Thank you so much, wonderful listeners, for tuning in today. You may still call in on those numbers to join us before we sign off. Let me start our studio signing off with Chief Barrister Ken. Most appreciative for coming on the program. Let me ask a direct question. Are our people in Ndi Igbo, with all the lessons we have learned in Nigeria, ready to come out to support IPOB for whatever it takes for us to regain our freedom?
Is it for me?
Yes, Chief Ken, is for you.
I believe so. Because even if you're not part of IPOB, like most of them I normally interact with, they say that they are Biafrans. So nobody loves to be under bondage. Everybody likes to be free, which is the independence, which is actually what IPOB is all about. Independence of Biafra, or independence of everything, being free to be like any other person, or being part of the Committee of Nations, Committee of Nigeria. So they are all willing to be part of Biafra. But some of them are only skeptical about the approach, which is at times they see it as being confrontational. And I know, as I said earlier, that people have sympathy for Biafra. Most people have sympathy for Biafra, or IPOB, or even Nnamdi Kanu being in detention. The only problem they're talking about is for us, they know that at a stage in one's life, when we try to get things peacefully, like trying to make a peaceful change, and then people we are dealing with are making it impossible, the people will now go for violent change, which is actually what Biafra in this IPOB situation is right now. But we can, and when we see the type of life or number of lives being lost in the quest for this independence, then I think that people will now come for Biafra if they tune down to do it maybe in a diplomatic and tactful way. On that ground, they will come. But independence is sure, and we make a case Nigeria is actually expired. Everybody knows now that this is the right time to make a case for it, but it should be on a round table conference, devoid of violence. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Let me reiterate that indigenous people of Biafra IPOB remain a peaceful, non-violent mass movement for the restoration of Biafra. IPOB has no hand in any form of criminality, impunity, or insensitivity. Anything that you hear from anybody, particularly Nigerian press or authority, that brings up some of this negativity and tag them to IPOB, is propaganda. Like Barrister Azubike said, the sit at home is IPOB's, one of IPOB's civil disobedience, peaceful method. We called for it. Ndi himself asked that it should be suspended, and our leadership suspended it long ago, almost 2 years now. Somebody who is not even a member of IPOB hijacked it. We know that that person is sponsored, that person is not acting in the interest of IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, or even Biafra at large. And unfortunately, that infiltrator, that agent provocateur, has been enabled and emboldened by the Nigerian system. We know this. They will be declassified to rubbish the good name and image of IPOB and put it in the mud. And also, let me put in proper context the laughable proscription of IPOB by Nigeria under Muhammadu Buhari and the APC. It's not going to stand anywhere. Legally, we've won it. It's just them accepting and implementing the legal judicial outcome. The same way they are struggling to accept that of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, whom they have declared that the lifting of his bail was illegal. His extraordinary rendition from Kenya was criminal. Still, they are keeping him there. This is why we are now saying we need all Ndi Igbo to come together, because, as you say, injustice to one is injustice to all. And in the case of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, it is very clear that they are holding Ndi Igbo. They don't just see it that they are holding Nnamdi Kanu. They are smiling and they are popping champagne behind closed doors, celebrating their conquest of Ndi Igbo. And this is something we must rise to fight against in a peaceful manner. But then they say those who make peace impossible only make the alternative to peace inevitable. We are pushing, we are working flat out to ensure that we have our demands met, the two demands, the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and the Biafra referendum in a peaceful manner. So that is what we need all Ndi Igbo to join us. And this December as well, we are doing all we can to ensure that Igbo land, Biafra land, is safe and peaceful for our people coming home to celebrate Christmas. I did a wonderful job last year through our ESN. And anybody who traveled last year can testify how peaceful our society and our place was. We are doing the same thing, but we call on people's support. In the UK here, we are doing ESN fundraising, and it's my hope that my good brother, Chief Barrister Ken, and Dr. Ndi Igbo and other leaders of the Igbo community here in the UK, we find a way to support us. I do know sometimes some people want to do it discreetly. We are open to that. The most important thing is that we receive the support of our own people in the good work IPOB is doing. And anybody doing anything that is not in line with what IPOB ethos are, please do know that that person is not IPOB. They are part of the problems we have, and they are working for our common enemies, of course. So thank you very much, Chief Barrister Ken Udoka, is General Secretary of Ndi Igbo, United Kingdom, and legal advisor to many Igbo associations in the UK, Anambra State Association, and others. Thank you very much, Mazi Azubike Afonso from Scotland, our Scotland IPOB Deputy Regional Coordinator in Scotland. Thank you for the excellent work you're doing. And many thanks too to Dr. Ndi Igbo. He had left us a little bit because he has another appointment. For coming on this program today, Dr. Ndi Igbo, the former president of Ndi Igbo, UK and Ireland. On that note, we'll be coming to the end of today's program. I will not sign off without thanking our anchor, Mazi Nnamdi of Radio Biafra. Mazi, thank you so much for your support. And of course, Mazi Sam, who is on the line to connect us with calls. They didn't come in today. Maybe next Sunday, we hope to get more callers. This month of November, we are discussing what we as a people and organizations or different groups can do to support and secure the release of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. So we'll continue it again with another interesting package or subject of discussion next Sunday on the UK Timeout on Radio Biafra. Once again, thank you, wonderful listeners. Thank you, my beloved IPOB UK family. We move. And from me, from here, it's a very good night, and I wish everybody a wonderful week ahead. God bless.
God bless. Good night.
Thank you, our listeners. Thank you.
Good night. Good night.